What game do you want that doesn't exist? Political career simulator, where you start running for like the school board and try to rise through the ranks to become president. Edit. If any of you folks below are seriously interested in working on this idea, PM me. I would love to help out in any way I can. When I was a kid I imagined the ultimate game would be every great game ever created in a giant macro universe. Imagine Civilization where you can pop into each city and build it like SimCity/Cities Skylines. And when you build roads and railways it's like Transport Tycoon. Yeah, something epic like that. A Jurassic Park game in the style of Alien Isolation. A science-based, 100% dragon MMO. An open world Dungeons and Dragons RPG. Think Skyrim but in the Forgotten Realms or something. With full character customization and opportunities to recruit a party of adventurers. So maybe the scale and exploration of Skyrim with the party management system of Dragon Age. Crap. Maybe I just want a modern AAA budget open world Baldur's Gate. To sum up, everyone just wants their favorite game to be made open world like Skyrim. PUBG but it scans from Google Maps, so you can play in your own neighborhood. I've never even played PUBG, but that sounds like a lot of fun. Animal Crossing already caters to millennial dreams like home ownership and paying off loans. I want an Animal Crossing game that also has marital satisfaction, devalued diamonds, and free avocado toast. Star Wars 1313. Roy. A game that combines the size and scope of Skyrim, the story and interaction of Dragon Age and the combat and troop management of Mount and Blade. An open world Futurama game. Simpsons Hit and Run 2. Pokemon game through all regions and leagues. Edit. A few good suggestions from the boys in the comments. PokeMMO. Thanks to /u/Robinator. Pokemon Zeta/Omicron. Thanks to /u/Exitiabilis. Pokemon Revolution Online. Thanks to /u/Spadget. Portal 3. I really want a Bethesda style open world Oregon Trail game. Warcraft 4. A Pokemon game with graphics and gameplay like Skyrim. A open world spy game. Mix Splinter Cell and Skyrim open world. Something like that. Cotter 3. A game where I can download my memory and play through different life experiences again and see what would actually change if I made different decisions. An HD sequel to Impossible Creatures, complete with dinosaurs as the central gimmick. Just think about it. A chimp with a T-Rex head, a pterodactyl with bee stingers, a grizzly bear with the build of a velociraptor. It would be glorious. A Game of Thrones themed open world RPG. I want a game that plays like Civilization, but with a proper single player campaign. I don't want procedurally generated opponents doing mostly predictable things. I want the epic saga of the rise of an empire, with unique characters and plot twists. Battlefront 2, 2005, with fully updated graphics. Skate 4 would be pretty sweet. Half-Life 3. Fighting game where you can just pick a character from any video game, movie, cartoon, comic etc and fight with it with whatever your opponent picks. A modern AAA game that does not have any microtransactions, day one DLC, loot boxes, and pay to win mechanics. Knack 3 baby. You are someone's immune system, and you have to defend against viruses and bacteria using your specialized cell defenses. I'm not that big a fan of superheroes, but there would be some really fun games if they were done correctly. Imagine how fun a fully destructible environment Hulk game would be, throwing cars through walls and throwing houses at one another. Imagine a game where you play as Storm and fly around and throw lightning bolts at people and control the wind. An Iron Man game with fully customizable suits. Sub, the game. A kind of walking/survival game in a Fallout universe, except there's no enemies, no people, no dialogue, etc. You emerge out of an old vault or safe haven and into a city that is destroyed. You need to find food, water, eat, shelter, etc to survive, but the main idea is just to explore through destroyed buildings in the city, just alone and mostly quiet. Portal 3, Portal 4, Portal 5, Portal 6 and Portal 8. Nice try, EA. An in-depth game that morphs from feeding your family to running a large nation. Think Farm Simulator 2018 meets The Sims, meets Civilization, but its each successive aspect of life is as nuanced and intricate as real life minus religion and politics. As each farmhouse turns into a neighborhood, then a small city, via large metro, each player's world becomes entangled with other players on similar levels. You want to just do your thing? No biggie. Solo mode is for you. Want to be as immersive as possible and create a global network of trade? Then online is your thing. Go at it solo or build a co-op with friends. If you have any, then move over to the money management part of the game and run it all like a global enterprise if you wish. At a certain level of mastery, the religious and political part of humanity comes into play as your little farm grows into a self-contained business. A crossover between PUBG and Chivalry. Basically have it be squads of 10 rather than 4, and have the drops be swords, armor, bows, etc. I feel like roaming hordes of medieval warriors would be awesome. Open world Doctor Who game. Like it would be Sims meets No Man's Sky, and you can build/expand your TARDIS as you find new worlds. You'd be able to choose which Doctor you want to play as, and have or create a companion. The worlds would have storyline adventures, including some of the classic ones, and you never know what you'll get. My wallet is salivating right now just thinking about it. I want a post-apocalyptic civilization building game that gradually grows in scale as you progress. Here's the basic gist. Before the game. First off, what tech level is humanity at? Renaissance level? Or near future? Or something else? This determines what kind of technological remnants might just be lying around for you to find and use, as well as the level of expertise different survivors have. Second, you pick what kind of apocalypse occurred to what level of civilization. Nuclear holocaust, plague, mass socio-economic collapse, re-emergence of magic, etc. This sets the scenario for the very first years and decades of the game. Third, it's time to start the game. Groups of survivors are randomly generated in different locations around the world. You pick your group and go from there. Within the group, you can customize your group's leader to make them whomever you want. Communist radical? Sure. Bad crap prophet? Do it. Ex-con warlord? Hell yeah. In-game. The first years/decades, you have to guide your group of survivors have to create some way of sustaining themselves. Whether it be farming, fishing, raiding, or trading. An important point to remember during these years would be that whatever you build, whatever you create, some other bastard is going to want it and will try to take it from you. So you'll also build some kind of military. Anything from citizen militia to legionaries would be possible. The mid-game. Congrats. You survived about 100 years after the apocalypse. Your people are prospering, and the traditions you instilled in them from the beginning have developed further. Maybe they have a new god or gods. Or maybe they're a warrior caste society. Whatever happened, you're now in the mid-game. It's time to expand outwards and subdue the other tribes and nations around you that are better off under your control. Use their resources and knowledge to advance your own tech and build your nation. Hell, maybe you're even looking like the old world once again. The late game, now you've met them. The other nations that are strong and prosperous like yours. You now have to compete with them for resources, old tech, and territory. That's going to mean hardcore diplomacy and bloody wars. Establish ties with that crazy zealous empire to your east, while paying off that raider horde up north to attack the crazes. Or ally yourself with the knockoff samurai against the never-ending legions of the fascist state's conscripts. It's up to you how the world rebuilds itself. Humanity may stumble and fall, but it always gets back up for another round. Yeah, I've thought about this a lot. So you manage an Ice Age human tribe in a procedurally generated land. You need to keep your tribe alive. This includes foraging, finding water, sheltering from weather, the whole works. More than likely, you'll be following herds of game to keep a steady supply of food and clothing. But not like in regular open world survival games, where the basics are simple and the game is forgiving. You need to say, hunt an Irish elk or a woolly rhino, to feed everyone because it's winter, and the foraging is thin. If a person gets gored, they end up severely injured, and can't just heal by waiting and or eating. There's a good chance that person just dies, or is permanently incapable of hunting. Population grows slowly, and includes long gestation periods and of course, occasional deaths in childbirth. Predators are also an issue. The cold can kill you. Younger members are difficult to keep track of and minimally productive. Minor accidents can result in death, infected wounds, etc. I don't know, I just feel like survival games these days are just too easy, and the late game basically becomes city building. StarCraft Ghost. A good modern Star Wars game. A 16-bit JRPG styled small business simulator that focuses on craftsman shops. Like you run a wood shop or a metal shop or a CNC shop. You budget for material, machines, tools, payroll. You hire and fire employees with exhaustively detailed skills and personality traits, i.e. Grassy. That wasted. No called and no showed. But he's the only guy who can TIG weld. So you can't fire him. Only threaten. Lily has seasonal depression and her production is down 25%. Sure, I should give small raises to everyone due to inflation and higher standard of living. But, frickin', this is America. It's basically a cross between Stardew Valley and capitalism plus lifelike enough to learn how to run a business. An exploration game where it's just you to explore the entire world, while having to make sure that anything which could end the world can't, like nuclear power plants having meltdowns. If anybody looking at this knows about a game where you at the very least can explore the world, please tell me. Grand Theft Auto, Undead Nightmare. Basically, a better Dead Rising. Sword Art Online, Alfheim Online, and Gun Gale Online, or The Seed. So ready for real remorque games to exist. A fantasy RPG set underwater with mermaid creatures looking to expand their territory, but without the stupid, painful swim mechanic like in Kingdom Hearts. I want to hunt for secret treasures under the ocean, discover scary sea monsters, and try to travel leagues under the sea to find new life, which you could detail/report in a compendium. It would also have to have crafting, and have a choice system, where you could turn to humans, to form an alliance for help creating technology, to help you get deeper under the ocean. NCAA Football 19 and College Hoops 2K19. A good open world Superman game. A sequel to LA Noire. A game like Skyrim or The Witcher, except literally every quest is well executed without feeling like filler. Also, more huge quests that start extremely innocuously. Imagine if the Finding a Pan quest in The Witcher led you to eventually dethrone a king, or discover a long lost ruin with a massive treasure trove. Open world Avatar: The Last Airbender MMORPG. A game that is true to scale. Wanna walk the street I grew up? You can. Wanna fly to France and jump off the edge of Eiffel Tower? You can. The ability to do anything you want in a virtual world that is an exact replica of the actual world. World of Warcraft 2 with all new assets. The game is nearly 15 years old. I know it will continue to sell like hotcakes, but some of the graphics are totally meh. Someone created a Unreal Engine mockup, and with third virtual reality, imagine the capabilities. Harry Potter game made by Rocksteady, kinda like Arkham Asylum but with Hogwarts. An actual real life simulator, not just like GTA or mod. I want there to be all kinds of stuff and I wanna play it first person. If I wanna become an architect I can do that, and if I wanna sell boats or become a thief I can do that too. No restrictions. Character creation is always a plus and I won't mind a story either. Heck, give the player the opportunity to make their own story. Maybe someone hid a treasure, or maybe you wanna work your way up the ranks to become president or start a company. Maybe you wanna go to space, and perhaps you will find alien life. Give me horror. Give me action and everything else. Include a vast open world, and give me random occurrences. Maybe the aliens possess new tech, or maybe you will create an AI that becomes self-aware. Surprise me, but also don't. A new Paper Mario game that's actually a RPG with a decent story. Black and White 3. Scalebound. A game where you as a person from our world are transported to a world with dragons and bound to one of those majestic creatures. And you go off together on an adventure to discover the mysteries of that world. Oh wait, this game did exist until Microsoft axed it without warning or reason last year. FCKU. Microsoft. A quality modern Marvel/Avengers game. Open World Sims 3. I have no idea why one hasn't been made yet. Electronic Arts would make so much money. A multiplayer, competitive, co-op or competitive co-op, strategy meets hack and slash with RPG element, where you could control troop movements on a massive scale, and then also go down into a Dynasty Warriors type fight, or even lead your troops from the ground as an officer, switching to different characters as they are killed or needed in different areas. Switching to lead roles would rally troops, if you're doing really well, helping surge lines, where you're weak or falling back, and likewise doing poorly would lead to your troops losing courage/muster and potentially losing that particular fight/area/battle. Realistic attack scenario regarding life would be a necessity also, i.e. if it takes you 2 hits to kill a bad guy, it takes 2 hits to kill whoever you are controlling in that moment. The ability to change the storyline by creating pacts, truces, agreements, or even interaction/relationships, love/marriage would have to be included, with the storyline of love affecting how subordinates react to you, trust/distrust, and a respect meter you have to pay attention to before, during, after and between battles, with all your actions and in battle leadership affecting your ability to lead those below you, and whether they will listen to your commands strictly. Throw in an intriguing and well-written storyline that you could still skip if you wanted to, where you take over an entire planet or continent thrown in, with political intrigue and various motives to do so, different storylines for each playable character, and motivations for what they're doing obviously ups the replay value. The usual tropes of course would be involved. Poor kid who rises up for, insert honor, revenge, glory, love, etc. Here, the rich madman/woman who is a power-hungry egomaniac but also, insert contented and doing it for the people, thinks they're in the right, but wrong, etc. Here, but along with those tropes some fresh blood too. The philosopher king who wants to unite the world in harmony, the wrong place at the wrong time general who got sucked into a world of politics he wanted no part of but now has a taste for it. The battle-hardened priest/cult leader who is actually insane from seeing so many of his followers and leaders killed. The child monarch who really doesn't understand why things are happening, but is being led by their counselors, etc. etc. What's great is this could work in sci-fi, fantasy, historical fiction, etc. And it could be an amazing game. I've thought about this for a long time. Doubt we'll ever see something like it though. A Lord of the Rings/Middle-earth game in the style of The Elder Scrolls. Whether the story or timeline is based on the events of The Hobbit or Lord of the Rings or some other story from the Silmarillion, I would die happy if this was made. It'd have to be made by Bethesda, unless some other developer were to copy their style, because I love the way they build worlds to just get lost in and interact with. There's something special about Elder Scrolls games and worlds that no other game or developer seems to be able to capture. And yes, I've played The Witcher 3 and it didn't do that for me. If it combined all the best features of Morrowind and Skyrim, then they built an amazing rendition of Middle-earth. It would be the best game ever made. An RTS/city builder that allows my friends to play it as an RPG in the world I'm shaping. Standalone Blitzball from FF10. Half-Life 3. A bit boring compared to other suggestions, but I would like a graphical, probably even FPS, open-world survival game that shows how to survive with real-world techniques. Things such as poisonous plant identification, making cordage, napping rocks, how to start a campfire, purify water, etc. For a more surreal pick, how about a open world survival? I like those. Okay, set on a junk world, think all the Earth with Horizon Zero Dawn enemies or something, where you make over your gear dynamically from scrap. A sequel to Jet Set Radio Future. GTA, but the office version. You can hit Meredith with your car, drive into a lake, and steal the Korean church van. Frontier exploration game. Preferably in a fantasy type setting. One where the NPCs are all live instead of preset routines. And where you can see new towns be built with the actual buildings in each stage of construction. And conversely where they can also be entirely destroyed at random by monster attacks. Katamari Damacy for PS4. The Royal Life Simulator game from Rick and Morty. A game similar to Fallout or Skyrim, but based on the movie Waterworld. Also a hack and slash game based in the Redwall world would be badass. A open world Pokemon game. Think of Zelda BOTW. RPG Mayfair game that doesn't suck. A conquering game with made up lands, where you actually make towns, and can design every single spot. Not only be a conqueror, but maybe be a farmer or a blacksmith, or maybe something, like you can be a blacksmith that works up to be a lord, a king, then you build an empire. Of course I would want all of these to be player dependent events. Have one world, but different servers, so that if you get millions of players it is not all one server. This is almost not possible now, but no microtransactions. Maybe at most to just buy the game. Another possible scenario in a game like this. You start a mining company, you actually go to a mining site yourself. Hire workers, gather equipment, etc. You make a lot of money and you start a town. I'm thinking a medieval theme for a game. Like this. I have tried to program a game like this once, but I'm not a game developer. I'm a 16-year-old that has an interest in network engineering, and I spend most of my time learning hacking. Silent Hills. Postal 4. A water game. R/FRC. Japanese whaling simulator. Basically anything posted on here but VR. I want a Strange City Builder RPG. Simulator mix where you play as the leader of a tribe. You'd only ever play as your ruler, and would have to attend certain things like council meetings, and audiences with your subjects, and make rulings, based on what you see and know from various sources. To start, you'd be heading up one larger than usual village, and across the years, across your dynasty, you would end up leading a massive city in what would be equivalent to our 16th century. Your decisions would shape how your own subjects, as well as other NPCs and civilizations view you, and influence the kind of people who come to serve under you. The entire game would be played like a Bethesda RPG, with you playing pretty much every aspect of your character's life. A Legend of Zelda game where you play as Princess Zelda. It would play just like any other Zelda game. Items, abilities, dungeons, treasure, monsters, all that. No difference in game mechanics. Just like many of the other games have some theme of duality, light world / dark world, young Link / adult Link, human form / wolf form. This game would have you transform into her alter ego Zeke. Some puzzles can only be solved by one or the other, and perhaps some dialogue options would be exclusive to one form or the other. Zelda would have magic abilities, although she might fight with that really thin sword from Twilight Princess. Sheik would have special mobility options like running up walls and using ninja tools. The story shouldn't be some crap like Link was out of town, so Zelda has to save the world this time. She's one of the 3 virtuous people chosen by the Triforce, and is understood to be as much a champion as Link or Ganon. I can Lego Game of Thrones. Borderlands 3. Star Wars, Pod Racer 2. An adventure time game that plays like Breath of the Wild with a full open world. Actual Chrono Trigger sequel. Dark Souls 4. Make sure to like and subscribe so we can watch together.